Hi, we're here today to talk to you about the cost of operating a preschool. This presentation is brought to you by Stephanie Otis, Andrea Henninger, Alex Reinertson, and Megan Dunham.
In order to begin the process of starting a preschool, you have to consider the startup costs. Startup costs are the one-time only expenses such as purchasing equipment, supplies, and staff salaries during the planning period. Some things to take into consideration are the cost of the space, renovation and repairs, training, janitorial costs, classroom and office equipment, and marketing and advertising.
The operating expenses includes all of the expenses that one would have while running an ongoing program that has achieved stability. Some of these expenses include staff salaries, benefits, and necessary training. They also include things like supplies, food, and maintenance. Lastly, they include the money needed to pay all of the bills.
The operating income is the income to run an ongoing program which has achieved some stability. You can think of this as the money your preschool will bring in during operation hours. Tuition fees are weekly or monthly payments made by parents to the preschool for childcare. Fundraisers. Your preschool should create a fundraising committee made of parents and staff to organize these fundraising events. These can be tag sales, bake sales, or partnerships with community restaurants. Donations are essentially gifts. The money or goods donated can be public by a company or private by a single person. Grants similarly can also be public or private, and you apply directly for these.
Then there are some things you need to consider. Some states require specific licenses for teachers, the buildings used, and other specific fees. These licenses can be expensive, so this is important to keep in mind. The same principle applies to insurance, which can also be costly. Other aspects to consider are how many hours a day the school will run, whether or not the program runs year-round, and the number of children attending the school can also increase or decrease costs.
The startup costs include all of your one-time costs, and depending on the specifics of your preschool, some or all of these may apply. The estimated total cost for educational supplies and equipment is $4,715. The estimated total marketing costs are $920. The estimated cost for furniture and fixtures is $40,940. And lastly, the estimated total administrative expenses are $36,456. All of these costs combined come out to a total of $95,485.
Here we are looking at another sample budget of a preschool. This preschool operates year-round 52 weeks a year. It includes 12 infants, 12 toddlers, and 40 preschoolers for a total of 64 children attending. Per year, this preschool will bring in $518,960 just in tuition. Other income will come from things like registration and transportation fees, grants, and fundraisers, for a total yearly income of $564,600. Their total yearly expenses came to $491,113. This means the preschool made a total of $73,487 for a total profit. To see specific breakdowns of these budgets, click on the link in the PowerPoint.
Why is childcare so expensive? Attached to this slide is an interesting video clip by CBS Minnesota on some of the explanations of why it's so expensive. In today's society, sending a child to preschool can get extremely expensive. Why? About 60 to 80% of operating costs go to the staff salaries, 10 to 20% goes to the building, and 5% goes to purchasing food for the kids, and the remaining amount pays for insurance, transportation, and supplies. About 18% of parents' income goes to childcare. That's a very high amount. Childcare is also expensive due to various state requirements, which will be discussed in the next slide.
The Rhode Island state specific teacher to child ratios are 1 teacher per every 4 infants, 1 teacher per every 6 toddlers, 1 teacher per every 9 3-year-olds, 1 teacher per every 10 4-year-olds, and 1 teacher per every 12 5-year-olds.
Average annual child care costs vary by state. In Rhode Island, annually it costs $12,075 to care for an infant. For a toddler, it costs $10,138. If you take a look at our infographic on the right, Rhode Island falls in the middle of the spectrum across the country.
Thanks for listening.